So the million-dollar question for all the heavy metal fans of the 1980s, was the German heavy metal, thrash metal band accept a gay heavy metal band? Now, Balls to the Walls in the front cover of the album looks like something a reject from Cruising. Is the fifth studio album by the German heavy metal band Accept, who are part of the rise of the German heavy metal movement in the late 70s, early 80s. European label Lark Records released the album December 83, which with its release in the States delayed a month to not compete with the band's then current album Restless and Wild. It accepts only record to attain gold certification in the States. The album's title track became Accept's signature song and remains a metal anthem and trademark in the genre. Now, at 45 minutes and 13 seconds, one of the longest heavy metal albums of the time. Now, recorded between July and August 83 at Dirk Studios in the Cologne, Germany region. Label was RC in Germany and Portrait Epic in the States. Now, the singles from Balls to the Wall was the title cut, which was released all the way in April of 84. Now, controversy followed the American release due to the record's title and front cover seen as homoerotic, and the lyrics to London Leather Boys and Love Child were interpreted to concern homosexuals. Guitarist Wolf Hoffman was dismissive of the controversy, saying years later that you Americans are so uptight about this. In Europe, it was never a big deal. We just wanted to be controversial and different in touching these touchy subjects because it gave us good press and it worked fabulously, Fabulously, get it? Drummer Stefan Kaufmann explained that many of the themes of the album were about press minorities in general. London Leather Boys was really about bikers, for example. They're normal people, they just look different, they behave different. And actually, bikers were one straight and gay were some of the biggest fans. For example, they're normal people, they just look and behave different. But they're normal people are not a minority. A Love Child was about gays, true, but it's basically about people who were suppressed. Concerning the homosexual issues themselves, Coffin said in an interview with French magazine En Feu in 1983, it's a phenomenon that should be taken into consideration. Because it exists on a wide scale, it should be demystified. In fact, it's a phenomenal society that needs to be taken as such. For a long time, gay people have been considered as sick or insane, yet in time, it's time to respect these people, open their minds, which are awful closed. Now, it started off gay people were in the 60s were going to go to jail for having homosexual acts, and now the economy and the media cater to gay people because they have heavy disposable income. Now, Hoffman's wife, lyricist Gaby Hauck, also denied these suggestions concerning the controversy. Let me answer this in the next question in one, okay? I've been very rebellious, and by no means I would have written anything normal. Never. The sexual question about the context of certain lyrics are mind games and pure interpretation from outsiders. This is a band who has, as individuals, so little to do with controversy, and absolutely nothing particular with anything but being very straight. Now, the front cover of the image of the album bears a striking resemblance to photographer Robert Mapplethorpe's work, Patrice, New York City, which I think was banned after in certain categories in '77. The album was the only accept album which guitarist Herman Frank played on until 2010's Blood of the Nations, but was given credit in 82's Restless and Wild. Now, pro wrestler Chris Jericho's band Fozzy did her own cover of the song Balls to the Walls. The Swedish band Amon Amarth also covered the song as a bonus track for the 2011 album Surrealizing. There are different remasters of the album. The first is part of Sony's The Metal Master series, while the second part of the BMG Remastered Edition. Both editions feature songs taken from the live EP Kazuko Bar. The 2013 release from UK record label Hear the Weevil Recordings contains the 90 live album Staying Alive. Now, the album, all music is given 4.5 stars, Collector's Guide to Heavy Metal 10 out of 10, and a Middle Crypt 5 stars. Now, Balls to the Walls, which was very big in my high school in Dalhousie into my college years, received positive reviews and was praised by contemporary success actors. Ty Tabor of the American hard rock band King's X was a fan of the album and its production, saying that it set a new bar for what heavy metal could sound like on record. Dimebag Darrell of Pantera and Damage Plan, Doro Pesch of Warlock, and Kay Hansen of Halloween were all fans of the band and considered accept among their main musical influence. Now, the great Canadian critic Martin Popoff liked the complexity of the lyrics combined with the clean, restraining riffing, which give the album subtle sophistication and a singular purpose. He puts Balls to the Walls at number one of the top heavy metal albums of the 80s list. Eduardo Rivadavia of AllMusic refers to it as an essential heavy metal album, only slightly more melodic and less gritty than Restless and Wild, and considers the title track an irresistible, fist-pumping masterpiece that came to optimize the modern slow-marching metal anthem as it became known. Broke in Canada and Quebec, went to the Ontario Basin, but when much music came along and they were playing heavy metal, except this song was very in heavy rotation, if you can say heavy rotation. They were repeating 6 hours every 4 hours. Now, according to Pierre Bégin of the online magazine The Metal Crip, the album is simply pure heavy metal with no weak tracks and a masterpiece. Balls to the Walls, which accepts first album to chart in the States, and it peaked 74 in the Billboard 200, making the band's highest chart position in the country for over 30 years until the release of Blind Rage in 2014. It was also the band's first album, ironically, to chart in Germany, where it peaked at number 5. So the cuts, the key is Balls to the Walls at 5 minutes and 45 seconds. London Leather Boys, Fight It Back, Head Over Heels, Losing More Than You Ever Had. First song on the second side, Love Child, Turn Me On, Losers and Winners, Guarding the Night, and Winter Dreams. The remastered edition of bonus tracks in 01 featured Head Over Heels Live and Love Child Live, and mastered edition of bonus tracks included Up to the Limit Live and Head Over Heels Live. Now, band members, Udo Dirk Schneider on vocals, Wolf Hoffman lead guitar, Herman Frank rhythm guitar, Peter Baltez on bass, and Stefan Kaufman on drums. Production included quite a few people, but the great Louis Austin as engineer. On the charts, it went 43 in Canada, 59 in Germany, 10 in Sweden, and Billboard 174. And they were huge in Canada and the States at the time. I think they were touring as well a few dates in Toronto. Music Canada, 50,000 copies gold. In the States, 500,000 copies as well. Now, before we wrap up the review of the album Balls to the Walls, let's talk about the single Balls to the Walls. Now, as of December 26, 2004, the music video has received over nearly 50 million views on YouTube. When asked about the song meaning, lead guitarist Hoffman said, "We've always been interested in politics and human rights and things like that. So a lot of the lyrics that we had in those days, in the end, actually, were dealing with human rights." Now, the album version is 554, but the video version is 428. Again, now filming the video itself, filmed in January 84, about a month after the album came out. The song's music video consists of clips of the band performing the song on stage, intercut with scenes of a wrecking ball. Look at you, Molly Cyrus, taking down a clock tower, and scenes with fans of the band headbanging against the wall of the tower. Later, during the build-up for the final chorus, the fans march through the rubble of the tower and presumably head towards the stage where the band is performing. At the end of the video, singer Dirk Schneider rides a wrecking ball into the tower and takes out the front doors of the building it stands upon. When he discussed the scene with Songfacts.com, he explained he was apprehensive about riding the ball because of the cold wintry conditions on the day of the shoot, but decided to do it in the end. It was very cold in London where we were shooting near the airport, and especially when I had to step in his wrecking ball, I said, "Please, no, I don't want to do this." But in the end, I was young, so I said, "Okay, here we go." But it was freezing like hell, and of course, could have froze his balls off. The song was also edited down for the video, with the guitar solo and Dirk Schneider's spoken bridge being removed. The video edit of the song clocks in at 4 minutes 28 seconds, again, but the album version is about a minute later. Now, on the single, Losing More Than You Ever Had is on the B-side. Now, Pussifer, or Pussife, released a cover version of the song, as well as a remix of the cover version on their EP Donkey Punch Tonight. So, whether it's the album or the single, Balls to the Walls drew great acceptance in North America. But if you're looking for heavy metal in Canada circa 1984, AC/DC except Iron Maiden and, Judas Priest. So, I mean, except to say they were a top 5 band in Canada for those 2 years, yes, they were. My good friend Herb Ward in Woodstock has been a heavy metal fan all his life. I've dedicated that to him. I hopefully can hear the podcast. I asked once about Except Balls to the Walls. He said it's an anthem, and that's where I look at it. The album itself was looking at different categories of humanity, but this is an anthem. You got to fight back when you're balls to the walls, and I'm dedicating this to everybody in the States that's fighting against that fucking cunt face Donald Trump. I get criticized in this channel for being political. We're in changing times. If people like me who have a voice don't stand up against tyranny and fascism and fuckfaceness and cocksucking abrasive fuckers like Trump, if Accept could come back and sing the song as they were in 1984, to be singing against Trump, because where your balls into the walls, you got to fight back. So anybody who listened to the song for the first time, please listen to the song you never heard it. Use it as an anthem to fight whatever's going on. But I'm not getting a fucking cunt face coming out to say, oh, we're going to take over Canada, because we've had our balls in the walls before, and we come up alive. We killed the fucking separatists in Quebec. We kicked the ass in the PLO training the FLQ. You fuck with us, we're going to... There's two things in Canada. I'm sorry, and you're going to be sorry. So that's why Accept is so popular, because we're a strong country. We don't take no shit. And we don't take no prisoners either. Look it up. So, ladies and gentlemen, the German heavy metal invasion, that's what's part of what we're doing here. I might do something later on. I'm a Rammstein and a few other artists, Scorpions. But when I saw the video for the first time, I said, this is going to be big. Big balls, say like AC/DC. We love big balls. So that's the story about Balls to the Walls, the album and single by Accept. If you like what you're doing here, what our podcast, please give us a like, comment, subscribe, or share. If you're a Trump supporter on his channel, please delete any subscription you had. Fuck off. We don't want you here. This is a Canadian channel, and Canada's all about peace and freedom and heavy metal. If you're a Trump supporter, please fuck off, like Phil Esposito, like Chris Rock, like Bobby Orr. Go fuck yourself. And like I said, you're going to be sorry. One of these days, the worm turns. It's coming. It doesn't matter. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump was in the Montreal Mafia in 1977. Look it up. Have a good one.